we'll all pitch in and make sure it works. So it's going to follow the normal formal or a normal meeting as much as possible, without the breakfast, and you've got to bring your own coffee, as you well know. So we're going to start off this morning as normal with the swap grace, and I'll call on Anne to deliver the grace, please.
Okay, great. All right. Oh, dear Lord, we thank you for this opportunity for swappers to join together, and thank you for those who have organized this as well. And thank you for John Nevin and the way that swap has impacted all our lives. And we ask your blessing on this meeting and on each swapper's life and family. And even though we're not all together having breakfast, bless whatever we may be eating or whatever we may be drinking, and inspire us to really great purposes at this particular stage in our lives. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 Amen. Amen. Now, we normally have the national anthem at this time. However, it's going to be a little bit difficult. So, Roger, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Oh, we might get you to call on you to sing the national anthem, New Zealand national anthem.
I think Rod's better at it than I am.
All right. What about if we just acknowledge the New Zealand national anthem? All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
It's the theme song from Lord of the Rings, isn't it?
Yeah. And the same with the Australian national anthem. We're going to all say yes. We've sang that.
Yes.
And the USA national anthem. We've got to give the USA a bit of credit there today. So we've sang the USA and the Canadian. Is Lynette Trumper there? Lynette, are you there? Lynette's probably still joining us.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, well, there's Lynette. Hello, mate.
Hi.
So we've sang the Canadian national anthem in our heads for you, even though I don't know the words. But anyway,
we all know the tune.
We all know the tune, yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm just going to. Are we all there?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm just going to give you the swap creed, as we normally do the swap creed. I do hereby promise and pledge that from today onward, I will continuously strive and think in a positive manner and have positive thoughts with regard to my profession and the life I am living. I realize the importance of the right attitude and make this pledge as I am aware of the truth in the law stating, as a person thinks in their heart, so they shall be. And I just swallowed an insect.
Oh, that's class.
Protein.
Class style.
Oh, yeah, right. Now, of course, if we always welcome our dignitaries. So past national presidents, please wave. Past national vice presidents, wave. Past state presidents, wave. Life members, wave. Fellow swappers, wave. Past club presidents, please start waving. Past members of national or club committee members, all wave. Come on, everybody, all wave and say, yes, I'm part of that.
Yes.
Aye.
Video.
Now, and the rest of you, what were you slackers doing while we were?
We're in the bar.
If you're from Victoria, give me a big hoy.
Hooray!
Hoy, we got some. Oh, you're very good. How's lockdown going?
Thank you very much.
This must be a treat for you to get out in the real world.
Yes, it will be.
I've heard about lockdown.
New South Wales.
Yes.
Who's from New South Wales? Give a big
Yes.
hoy.
Hooray!
South Australia, a big hoy.
Hooray!
Anyone from Tasmania?
Lonely person.
What about New Zealand? Give us a hoy from New Zealand.
Kia ora.
Kia ora. USA, give me a hoy.
Hoy
Anyone
from
USA?
upside down. I'm here.
And Canada, give me a hoy from Canada.
Hi.
And last but not least, if you're from Queensland, give us a big hoy.
Yay!
Now, This is the part where we normally do I'm alive, I'm well, and I feel great. So how do you feel about doing that this morning?
We can
Good
do
old.
that.
Of course.
Let's go. All
Let's
right,
go.
on the count of 3, all right? 1, 2, 3. I'm alive.
Aye.
Didn't make much noise with
that.
that.
Was pretty good. Now, the thing
Sounds
that I
better
missed
live.
out on this morning was who is here for the first time, never been to a swap meeting? I see one of my guests, Richard's there. Who hasn't been to a swap meeting before? Put your hand up. Anybody? Richard, are you there?
Richard.
Yeah, I'm here.
Are you the only one this morning by the sound of things?
That what? I missed it.
Yeah, I think I'm
here.
the only virgin.
Who's the
What's
only
the
one
matter?
here that had not been to a swap meeting?
Yeah, I haven't been to a swap meeting, Charlie.
Well, there you go. That's 2. Welcome to swap.
Thank
Oh,
you.
we got Richard. Who was the other one?
Richard,
Oh.
get here.
Richard here. Oh, there you go. I don't know
Who
who
was
that
the
is.
second? Who was the second?
Albert.
Oh, Albert Jan. Yeah,
Oh,
Albert.
okay. Thank you.
I'm here as well,
Good
Dad.
to see you, Albert. Long time no see.
Yeah, good to see you guys too.
Now, has anybody got a birthday today?
I got a birthday this year.
Oh, well, happy birthday to everybody.
There's a
Okay,
birthday.
wait,
There's a birthday tomorrow, Charlie. Deb Bell from New Zealand has her birthday tomorrow.
Ah, well, I wish Deb was here. We could have sang her happy birthday.
Well, I just sent her the link, so hopefully she may join. but
Hopefully
we'll
she
see what
could join.
She's
All right.
dropped off my list. Her emails kept bouncing, so the
Yeah, she
system
got new-
deleted her.
I got a new email for her if you want.
Hi, it's me.
Oh,
So
send
we
it to me,
tested, so the
please.
main line
Okay.
works,
Oh,
and
right,
then
there
he
we
said
go.
that if the main line's working, then all the steppers-
Charlie, there's another
He
virgin
said
here
that
on
you've
the
also got a
line.
second line,
Yeah,
817
there's another one. Ian Duncan.
1186, and I said, oh, that might be the fax.
Right,
I'm here,
Dad.
Dad.
I'm not watching
That's
the
only
video.
one of the steppers, is it?
Who's on a phone call?
see.
Can you mute your speaker, please, while you're on the
I think
phone
it's
call?
Graham. Graham
Graham
Southwell. is
Southwell.
just joining us.
Needs to
Graham,
mute.
are you there?
I see. Well, he seemed to think that so long as the 1185, the main line was working, that all the steppers would be fine.
Good on you, Graham.
Sorry, you're muted.
What goes on Zoom always astounds everybody.
Yeah,
you hear me,
Rhonda's got
Dad?
the button. Behave yourselves.
Are we ready?
Can you hear me, Dad?
Yeah. Oh, here's another newbie. One of my daughters, Serena. Welcome, Serena.
Hi, Serena.
Hello.
Hello.
Serena, was that the one that was a speaker for us in a
When it comes to notes in here,
while ago?
it's the heaps on
Righto,
here that
what
we
was
know.
that?
That the
Righto.
daughter that spoke at our first convention in
No,
2019?
that was Tanya Sweeney.
Oh,
Righto. Now,
No, it was Sylvia.
sorry.
It was Sylvia Marino.
righto, we're ready. We're going to do the thoughts of the day. I'm not quite sure how to handle this. We're either going to do it in an alphabetical order or by age.
Oh. Do it by height, and weight.
If we do it by height or weight and start at the biggest, we'll start with Greg. Now, Alan Peace is our thoughts judge. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to call on your name, and if you're there, you give us your thought of the day, and we'll take it from there, and Alan will judge it. So we'll start with Rod Meharry. Go, Rod, for your thought of the day.
Good morning, everybody. Okay, my thought is, pity the man who inherits $1 million and who isn't a millionaire. Here's what would be pitiful if your income grew faster than you did.
Oh, very good. Thank you, Rod.
Jim Ryan,
Now
an
we'll
old
have-
Jim Ryan quote, Charlie.
And Roger Yates. Roger, call on you, please.
Okay. Roger Yates from Adelaide, South Australia. I shall pass this way but once. If therefore there be any good thing I can do, or any kindness I can show, let me do it now. Let me not defer it nor neglect it, for I shall not pass this way again.
Very good.
Very,
Thank
very
you.
good.
Yep, I like that. Rhonda Buttrey.
We can't go back. Oh, I'm Rhonda Buttery. I'm from Queensland. and my business is astrology and wellness. And my thought of the day is we cannot go back and make a better start, but we can go on and make a better finish.
Excellent, thank you. Is that Pat there? Pat Armitstead? Are you there, Pat? You haven't joined us yet? Righto. Nikki Meldrum?
Yes, that's me.
Yep.
Nikki Meldrum, Homeloan Professionals, Queensland. My thought of the day, if you don't go after what you want, you'll never have it. If you don't ask, the answer will always be no. If you don't step forward, you'll always be in the same place.
Excellent, thank you. Is Mike O'Hagan with us?
Yep. Yes, I'm here. Good morning,
Righto,
everybody.
Mike.
I'm Micah. Good morning. I'm Mike O'Hagan. I don't know where I'm from, Queensland or Philippines or something like that. I've got a business building support teams in the Philippines. And my thought for the day is don't fake it till you make it. Fake it till you become it.
Excellent, thank
Good
you.
one.
Okay.
And I'd like to welcome our speaker, Martz Witty. Martz, can you, are you there?
I'm here, Charlie.
Oh, excellent. Oh, have a look at Martz. Righto, Martz. Go for it.
Just don't ask me to stand up. So, Martz Witty, Club Med, Christchurch, New Zealand, former chartered accountant, now chief strategist and still professional speaker. And my thought is inspired from one of my earliest memories of my father, but on research, I tracked and traced the thought originated with Dame Edna Everage from Australia. And my thought is, don't forget to laugh at yourself or you could be missing the joke of the century.
Very good, thank you. Martin Kennedy.
Good morning, swappers. Martin Kennedy, former president of the Geelong Swap in Victoria. My thought for the day is that it's fantastic to be alive and well because the alternative isn't much good.
Especially this time of morning. Thank you.
All right.
Marie.
Hi, this is with Margaret London. You all remember Margaret? I can't turn mine on full on. I don't know how you do it. Okay, I had a thought of the morning, but someone took it much earlier. So now what I'm going to say to you, this old man asked his wife, darling, does it worry you that I chase young girls? And his wife replied, no, because old dogs chase cars that they can't drive.
Thank you.
Not exactly
Lynette.
a thought, but.
Lynette Trumper.
Hello, I'm Lynette and I'm ex from Geyser Swap in Rotorua, ex Western Australia and now Ontario. And what I do is I help entrepreneurs and businesses increase their influence, build strong and meaningful connections by making them feel special through sending greeting cards and postcards. And my thought today is, a favorite of mine, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel.
Yes,
Good
very
one.
good. Thank you. Now, Lorna, have you got a thought for us today?
Well, now that I fixed the camera,
Good on you,
I have
Laura.
a PhD. It helped for Zoom. I'm kidding. I would say my thought for the day is carpe diem. Seize the day. You never know what tomorrow will bring.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you.
Boo.
Leslie Wagner, are you there?
Yeah, good morning. How are you?
Good.
Leslie Wagner, and I'm from Queensland, and my business is I'm an essential services consultant. My quote for the day is, change your attitude and you will change your results.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yep.
Julie Davis, are you there? Julie? No. Judy Ward, are you there? No. Jocelyn.
Judy,
Judy, are you there?
you're muted.
You're muted.
Oh, oops.
Well,
Oops.
oh, can't hear you.
Jocelyn's here.
All right, we'll go to Jocelyn.
Now she's there. She's
Hello,
there.
I'm
Hi
Jocelyn
everybody,
Scott.
it's Judy Ward from Sydney, from various swap groups in the past and originally from New Zealand. My thought of the day is where there's a will, there's a way.
Excellent, thank you. Jocelyn.
Hello, I'm Jocelyn Scott from Christchurch. I am Executive Assistant to Martz Witty of Wits Ends. Please give me some help. My thought for today is difficult roads often lead to beautiful destinations.
Thank you. Jeremy.
Thank you. Jeremy Bitton, past president of Sunshine Coast Business Swap. And since 2016, I've been the CFO of Boston Coin, the world's first diversified crypto fund. And my thought for the day is a very short one. Your I can is more important than your IQ.
Very good.
A dog like.
Jenny Cartwright, are you there?
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Jenny Cartwright from Sydney Lockdown. I'm still helping people win more sales, and I'm also helping older people exercise when they think they can't by teaching them aquarobics. And of course, my favourite speaker has always been Jim Rohn, and this comes from his Little Thoughts book. One person caring about another represents life's greatest value.
Excellent, thank you. Jan Sky, are you with us? No, Mister. Harvey Michael, are you with us? Nope. Harvey Duncan. No. Harry Kay.
I'm here.
Harry, go.
Good morning. Good morning. Harry Kay. I'm now the owner and sometimes fund real estate agent for Realway Connect Property, ex-City Swap in the wonderful city of Sydney, and of course with Jeremy, the ex-Sunshine Coast member here in gorgeous Sunshine Coast. And my thought of the day is a favourite from W. Mitchell, whom I had the great pleasure of meeting many years ago, and then again in Singapore a few years ago. And he says, it's not what happens to you, it's what you do about it.
Excellent, thank you.
Very true.
Our vice president, Greg Aldred.
Oh, good morning, Charlie. Thank you for remembering me. It's Greg Eldred from Melbourne, Lockdown, Melbourne, the founding president of Melbourne Swap Club. Hello, Sandra, my love.
Hello,
Yeah,
Greg.
are you remembering me?
Yeah, sad to see you still with him, but anyway. I'm from Executive Business Machines in Melbourne, and my thought for the day is if it's going to be, it is up to me.
Excellent, thank you. Graham Southwell. Graham, are you there, mate?
I am, yeah. Thanks, Charlie. Thanks, everybody. So I used to be a member of Swap in Central Auckland, and I basically head up BNI in New Zealand. And 22 years ago, when I was first getting started, Charlie took me under his wing. I can't remember if it was at National Speakers or Swap, but he invited me to join a mastermind group, and very grateful. I mean, I was going to say my usual, like your network determines your net worth, but I actually think your networks are far more important than that. I've really seen through COVID how important it is for our mental health, our well-being, that we're connected, and and relationships like you've got going on here are just so important to everything, really. So thanks for inviting me, Charlie, and good to see some old faces. Not old in that way, you know. Familiar faces.
I sound I'm getting a bit old as well.
I think you were right the first time. Glenys Bailey. Glenys, are you with us? I didn't see you. No? Move on to Denzo.
Yeah, hi guys. Great to see everybody here. And with the mute thing there, I think the most used word in this time of our lives, other than unprecedented, is "you're on mute." I reckon they use that a lot at the times. Sorry about my voice, but my thought for the day comes from a wedding I emceed in Toowoomba just recently, and after the bride and groom spoke, I said to all you singles there, and it applies to all you guys who are single, just because you haven't found the right person for you yet, doesn't mean you will.
Greg Eldred's looking a bit worried.
Good one. We can frame that one. Chris Empson. Chris, are you with us?
That's it.
No?
Oh,
Chris? Kathy Fry. Kathy.
Hello. I'm from City Swap and Surfside Swap in Sydney, lockdown Sydney. I'm a mortgage broker, 25 years in the business now. My thought of the day is when you talk, you are only repeating what you already know, but if you listen, you may learn something new.
Yes, good. True. Catherine Palin Brinkworth.
Yes. Good morning. Yes, I am still Catherine Palin Brinkworth. Pioneer Swap, Melbourne Swap, and last Gold Coast Swap. So I'm known as the shift worker, and amongst other things, I run private mastermind groups for high achievers, and just love everything life has to offer. So my thought for the day comes from my son, Nick, who spent a lot of time at Youth Swap and Big Swap. And he used to say, I think it's very much needed in these days. If you see someone without a smile, give them one of yours.
Excellent. Thank you. Alison. Where's Alison? We haven't seen her.
Hello, and it's so lovely to be part of this. I'm previously from Swap North Shore and now live in Maharangi West, North Auckland. My thought for the day is the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. Edmund Burke.
Very good, thank you. Alex Eason. Alex, are you there? Are you dropping the kids off? No, you were there before. All right. Albert Jan.
Time for me, but evil is the good man.
Yeah, I've never been a swapper, but I'm actually taking some time off work at the moment and walking the TRL walkway in New Zealand for 3,000 kilometres and going to leave the Wednesday next week. And my thought of the day is that even if you fall flat on your face, you're still moving forward.
Thank you. Now I saw Ian Harvey there. He's not on my list. Are you there?
I'm back on.
Oh.
Alex? Yes.
Alex, we just had Ian for a moment. Ian?
Yes, good morning, Charlie. Good morning, everybody. Ian Harvey is my name. Past president of Endeavour Swap, past national president of Australia and director of Business Swap. And also alter ego to a Austrian psychiatrist by the name of Dr. Fritz Heckler, who's invented some amazing machines in terms of mind reading and the likes. And the thought that I have today is more applicable now than it ever was, because from personal experience, my thought is never take a laxative and a sleeping pill at the same time.
Hi, Renee.
Thank you. Have you got a thought of the day, Renee?
Oh, I'd love to give you one. Actually, because it's Deb Bell's birthday today. Is she online here? She's not here. Okay, everybody knows Deb Bell. Well, her favourite saying was, in order to say yes to the best, you have to say no. Oh, no, you have to say no to the good in order to say yes to the best. I got it.
Yeah. Thank you.
And that's very applicable to me today.
Back to Alex, please.
Alex,
are you there?
I am indeed. There's nothing so rewarding as when your grandkids get old enough to help you in the office.
Say
hi to Charlie.
Hello. Good morning. Brian, are you there?
Good morning, all. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Cool. I'm marketing manager, or should say marketing manager for a commercial cleaning company called Spick and Span, because that's how we leave your place when we finish. And final president for Brisbane Business Swap back in 2012, end of that year. My quote for the morning is, no matter how bad yesterday was, today is, the sun will still be up tomorrow.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you.
Yep.
Now, Richard, are you there with us? Richard? Richard, have you gone back to bed?
You're
Right.
muted. You're muted.
Are you muted? Richard, unmute.
That sounded like muted, Rhonda.
Yeah, no, we weren't talking to you.
Oh,
All right.
There you go,
Serena, are you
Richard.
there?
No, Richard's fine now. Go.
Right. Ah, good on you, Richard.
All right, how's that?
Beautiful.
Are you crystal clear now?
Bit twangy, but
Can
never
you
mind.
hear me?
Yeah, go on. Your thought of the day, mate.
Is that any better?
Yes.
Yeah, we're right now. Go on.
Hello, hello.
Hello, we can hear you.
Is that any better?
Yeah, that's good.
Testing, testing. I hope that
No
works.
more testing. Yeah, we can hear. Is that your thought of the day? Testing, testing.
He's muted himself again.
Okay, no, my thought of the day. Maybe I should introduce myself. Can you hear me clearly? Like, can I be heard?
Yep. Yes. Yes.
Okay. My name's Richard. I was lucky enough to be under Charlie's wing for a set period of time and learn the ropes. I was an engineer and now I'm a salesman. I wasn't really very prepared for a quote or thought of the day, but there is one that's in my head that I heard recently. It was a Shakespearean quote, actually. It says, "Who more the fool himself or the fool who follows the fool? You judge."
Ah, very good. Very
And Charlie
good.
took you under his wing.
Thank you for that. Serena, are you there? Taking the kids to school, Serena?
No, I'm here.
Oh, good. Would you have a thought of the day for us, mate?
Yep. So firstly, I'll introduce myself. I'm Charlie's youngest daughter and I'm a para athlete. So my thought of the day is applicable to, I think, everybody in today's times. We have very little control over the pandemic and how it affects us. We have our state bodies and federal bodies have more control over us than ever before. So my thought of the day is control your controllables. So for me as a para athlete, I have no control whether the next Com Games trials gets cancelled. I have no control over whether or not another competition gets cancelled. I only have control over my controllables, being my diet, how strong I'm going to be, how tough I'm going to be when I next get to compete. So yeah, control your controllables.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Serena. Now, have I missed anybody? Because you might
Yes,
not be
you
on the
missed
list.
me.
Oh, hold on.
You missed me, Charlie.
Sorry, I've got another page. I found another page. So just
Hallelujah.
hold on. Sharon Jones, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
There we go.
Hey,
Hello,
hi.
Sharon.
I'm here from Colorado, USA. Good to see you guys.
Wow.
I remember that international convention several years ago. I still have great memories and great pictures. So it was great. So I'm a past national president in USA, and I have been to Australia and New Zealand and love both countries. They're beautiful, beautiful. And my thought for the day is when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
It's excellent. Thank you. Now, we do have Susan now. Oh, I forgot Susan. Are you there, Susan?
Yes, I'm here, Charlie.
Excellent.
Good morning to the beautiful Sandra there in the background.
Oh, thank you. Some recognition at last.
Oh, we said hello to you, Sandra.
My name is Suzanne Phillips and I am a past member of Van Diemen Swap. And my thought for the, I'm presently retired in lockdown Victoria, which Melbourne has the honour of being the city with the longest lockdown. That's us. Yeah, and my thought for the day is success is not final, failure is not fatal. it's in the courage to continue that counts.
Very good.
Excellent. Sylvia Marina, are you there?
I am here, Charlie.
Oh, there she is. Hello, sweetie.
Sylvia Marina, former president of Swan Swap in Western Australia, former fellow and lifetime member. I'm a conference speaker. Usually you find me flying around the world, but not at the moment. Everything's on Zoom. I'm also the Dean of the International Kinesiology College Personal Development School, and also have my own Heart Leaders Academy in personal development. My thought of the day is, faith is taking the first step, even when you can't see all the stairs. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Yvonne Collier.
Yes, hi.
I'll second that one.
Hi, everybody. It's lovely to see everyone's faces. So from Pioneer Swap in North Sydney, ex-president, and my favourite, well, oh yes, I teach assertive skills. So I teach people to speak up. The winds of grace are always blowing. It's up to us to raise our sails.
Excellent, thank you.
Now, hi, I'm Dean Collier, ex-president in Shore Swap. It's the one, Shore Swap Auckland. Came to Australia in 2001, met Ebon and didn't go home. How about that?
Yay!
There's many thoughts in my head that are embedded into my thinking, as one would think, as thoughts are, the thought behind the thought, etc. But the real one that stands out is from a magician, and I'm just trying to recall his second name. Alan was his first name.
Watson.
And he said, what's the name?
Watson.
That's it. He
Alan
won the
Watson.
Swapper of the Year thought, and it was, if I can recall it, it's not the length of the wand, it's the magic in the stick.
Thank you. Karen Slade. Karen, are you with us? Karen Slade?
Yes, hi everybody. I'm past president of Northern Beaches, and I've got the trophy still, which I wish I polished. So I need to work out how I can respectfully get this to someone for you guys up there, or maybe I'll have to drive it up because I'm down in Sydney. So when I joined Swap, thanks to so many of you, I created a successful business. 24 years ago, I started Catering by Design, and we've just in COVID rebranded.
Wow.
And because I've been in lockdown, I wrote a book 14 years ago, but I published it in April. So it's called Where There's a Will, There's a Wake, a guide to going your own way. And a funeral is a celebration of life, and that's what I love to do, is celebration. So it's just another one. And I'm also a funeral director, but the book's available all over the world now. And my thought comes from this book. If you're looking for a big opportunity, seek out a big problem. Ian Harvey, did you see your book?
Yeah. Anne,
Yes.
are you there?
I
Yes.
sure am. I sure am. Ann Carlson, formerly from Sydney with Pioneer Swap, and then I'm transplanted now in Woodland Park, Colorado. So Sharon Jones, you're in Colorado as well. Whoa. My thought for the day is George Eliot. It's never too late to be what you might have been, which is also goes along with my business, which is helping women win in winning their second half.
Very good. Thank you. Now, I'm at the end of all my pages here. Have I missed anybody?
Yeah, Margaret Ash. You've missed Margaret.
Yeah.
Margaret, not on my
Okay.
list.
Yeah.
Oh, there she is.
Here I am. Okay. Hi, everyone. Margaret Ash, former treasurer of Brisbane Business Swap, and I have dedicated bookkeeping. And my thought of the day is never be afraid to try something new. Amateurs built the Ark, professionals built the Titanic.
Excellent. Yep, thank you. Now, I know. Ian Duncan, have you got a thought of the day for us?
I have a thought of the day. I'm driving, so I'm not on, I haven't got the what's name turned on.
Thought of the day is connect to gratitude. It is a powerful, positive, empowering emotion that sits all around your heart. I talk about eyes being windows to the soul. Your heart is a doorway. Connect to gratitude.
Very, very deep for this time of morning. Thanks, Anne. I appreciate it, mate.
My pleasure.
You never got me, Charlie.
Sorry?
You never got Paddy.
Oh, Paddy. Is Paddy there? He's not on my list either. Go on, Paddy.
He did, didn't he? Turn the page, Charlie.
Okay. Paddy Sweeney. I was the founding president of the first swap club in New Zealand, and also started a club on the Gold Coast, which grew to be the biggest with 150 members. And I think it was 83 when we had the conference in at Ramada with Rita. I got Swapper of the Year there. It was pretty good. And I've got a business called Stainbusters Carpet Cleaning throughout Australia. And you'll say, wow, carpet cleaning in New Zealand. And my thought of the day is every morning I remind myself, nothing I say today will teach me anything. So if I'm going to learn anything, I must do it by listening. I've been listening here. It's good.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. Is anybody else? Have I missed anybody else?
Did Alan have a go? Alan Pease?
Yes, he's the thoughts judge, so he's the last.
Okay.
Can't I have one?
You're forgetting New Zealand, Charlie.
Oh, sorry?
You're forgetting New Zealand.
Oh, Roger, didn't I give you a bit of a go?
Or Rod?
No. Yeah,
Rod started.
Rod started.
Oh, did he? Oh, you missed me then, Charlie.
Oh, righto, Roger, go.
Hi, Roger Bull. I was president of Hamilton Swap for 5 out of the 7 years it was running. And I have a security company called Smartway Security, which I've still got running over 20 years. And for 19 of those, we've been doing CCTV, and we've got customers all over New Zealand. And my thought for today is basically experience the difference, because the difference is experience.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. Anybody
Charlie,
else?
I want to hear Alan Pease's quote.
Yes, yeah, he's after me. All right. I'm next, and then Alan, because he's the thoughts judge, so he can give his thought and then tell us which thought he likes best.
You'll probably win.
Yeah. Well, good morning, all. My name is Charlie Nichols. Sandra and I have the Lao Lake House, so we're bringing you this today from Laos. I'm changing my thought of the day a little bit because of the circumstances. The thought I love most of all is if you're not sitting in front of a prospect, you're unemployed. However, the new one is if you're not on Zoom, you're unemployed because of lockdown. Right, Alan? Alan, it's your turn.
Okay,
so give us your thought first, and then
mine will be very deep, as you can probably all imagine. If you love someone, set them free. If they come back to you, nobody wanted them, so set them free again. I love the thoughts of the morning. Some of them I can remember from like 40, 50 years ago. Almost. I've got a few notes here. Rodney, you started off really strongly with about being a millionaire, but I got lost with it. I didn't sort of figure out damn whether I was supposed to be a millionaire or not. I like Nikki. The answer will always be no. I mean, that's an oldie, but that's a goodie. You know, if you don't ask, the answer is going to be no. Funny thing, while the Aussies are quoting Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, and W. Mitchell, Martz in New Zealand's quoting Dame Edna. Marie Parnell about the old dogs chasing cars. Thank you for that commentary on your sex life. We enjoyed that. Paddy talked about you got to listen, which I thought was really funny because he's never listened ever. Anyway, Judy Ward. I've known Judy forever, and I like the comments because she never shut up at Swap. You all yelled out, "You're muted. We can't hear you." And I got a real kick out of that. Alison, you came close to winning about when good men do nothing, but you were a little bit out of date. If you had said when the LGBTQI, transgender, and non-binary do nothing, then you might have won it.
Give us a break.
Well, I gave the vote this morning to Mike. fake it until you become it. It's a bit of a twist on the old one. And I know a lot of people want to hear that, fake it till you make it, fake it till you become it, which is a stronger version. People sometimes get a bit upset. Oh, why should you fake it? Well, because your brain doesn't know the difference between reality or fantasy. And when you fake something, you actually will become it after a while. So I give the vote this morning to you, Mike. I thought that was a good twist on an old one.
Hey.
Hey, presume my spark plug's in the mail, okay?
Yes, it's a virtual spark plug. You want to just quickly repeat your thought, Mike? Mike, can you repeat your thought?
Yeah, Mike, reach out and get it.
Don't fake it till you make it. Fake it till you become it.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Cool. Now, this is not not an AGM or a normal committee type meeting. However, we've just had our AGM, and I just want to get Rhonda to give you a quick overview on the AGM, and then Greg Eldred will give us a quick overview on what's coming up in the entertainment department. So,
Thanks,
Rhonda.
Charlie. Of course, we were overrun with attendees. I think there were 7 of us. Your existing committee stood for renomination, and of course we were not overwhelmed with contestants. Those nominated were elected unopposed, and Martin Kennedy offered himself again from the floor to rejoin the committee. We took about 10 minutes for the business, and then we chatted for a little while and decided to engage some professional help to swap over the hosting of the web page. And that's about the long and the short of it. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Rhonda. And what about you, Greg? Have you got a quick report for us?
Yes, I'm to talk on the next event that we've put together. For those that have joined in the past, the original or the reunion in Queensland on the Gold Coast, you'll remember how well attended that was, but also the quality of the event. And then the second one was in Laos, where we had the pleasure of Sandra and Charlie being our hosts. And we had a wonderful...
You didn't have the pleasure of Sandra at all.
Yes, we did. Not that he knows of.
It was a great event, but Charlie was a real pain in the ass. But thank you. But the point I'm making before I share the next one is the quality of the team behind the event, but also the experience of each of those events. So what we've now done is rolled out our third event, which is the convention holiday for February 2022. And it's titled Rio on the Sunny Coast in Queensland. And it's a 5-day event in Queensland. And I'll just give you a quick rundown on what we're doing. Day one, it involves going to the home of the Australian Zoo and experiencing that event for the day. There's the show, the Wildlife Warriors show, a great event to experience there. Day two is the Noosa Everglades, cruise along the pristine Noosa River and into the dark, tranquil mirrored waterways of the Noosa Everglades. Morning tea, a visit to the historic loggers' camp, Harry's Hut, a relic of the early timber cutting days. Day three is the Umindi markets. So there's a casual day of shopping the markets there, local goods and bits and pieces. There's the gala night that night, which is Rio at the Oaks Oasis Resort. So that's the traditional gala night. And, you know, as happens every year, there's a few people that make an idiot of themselves, Charlie, but we have a lot of fun. Day four is Kellingworth, which is Kellingworth Dairies. We're talking property. You know I love you, Charlie. So we have the opportunity to taste magnificent cheese, yogurts and mousses from the dairy there, and time to wander around and enjoy ourselves. Day five is the Sunshine Coast to home. So we return back to our home base for the Q Camel Dairy, which is a industry enterprise, and we have lunch at the Barrels at Clouds Vineyard. So there's a variety of things happening on each day. I've
lost everybody.
The underpinning part of that is what happens of a night time with everybody. Can you guys still hear me? Or are we gone quiet?
Yep. I can hear you.
Right. Yep. So have we got an idea as to how many have booked so far, Rhonda?
21 or 22.
Yeah, I think about that.
We're aiming for a cosy number of about 25, so my room's still available. But yes, as I said, the date for that is February 2022, and there's been a lot of work behind the scenes with Sylvia, Rhonda and the team. So I strongly recommend you're making a decision to join us again on the third event. Thanks, Charlie.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it. We're running out of time a little bit, so we better keep on moving.
Charlie, can I add a very quick comment people might like to know? David DeVito, whose restaurant has hosted some amazing swap lunches, is closing this coming Sunday. He's sold the restaurant and it's finishing. So if anyone wants to get down and enjoy one last, you've got a few days.
Excellent. Thank you.
Oh, that's awful news.
Yes.
The one where he sings for everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not well.
Oh, really?
Thank you. Now, to introduce our 10-minute speaker, I'd like to call on Lynette Trumper. Lynette? Are you there,
Speaker
Lynette?
this morning. Oh, sorry, yes, I'm not on mute. Our speaker this morning was president of Hamilton Swap for 5 out of the 7 years that it ran in the late 90s. He describes himself as a perpetual traveller. After leaving the UK in 1970, he spent the next 15 years travelling through Africa, visiting over 32 African countries. Then, after taking a 5.5-month overland trip back to England, he returned to West Africa, where he met his Kiwi wife, Helen. After working on mega yachts as a marine engineer in Spain, he then headed to the UK before heading back to New Zealand, where he's lived for the past 25 years. His travels didn't end there, and amongst other travels, he went to India and motorhomed around Europe, visiting 10 countries in 6 weeks. This perpetual traveller has visited over 78 countries to date. For the past 20 years, he has successfully owned a security company specialising in CCTV. Now semi-retired, he spends time pursuing his creative side and has just started learning how to paint. COVID has put a halt on international travel, so now Helen and he now travel locally in their motorhome. When not travelling, they spend time on their lifestyle section just north of Hamilton with Willow, their miniature toy Pomeranian, and a few sheep, and I'm sure they spend lots of time with their 7 grandchildren. Take it over, Mr. Roger Bull.
Hello, everybody, and thank you very much, Charlie, for the opportunity. I'll be as quick as I can with this one because it's quite detailed. Basically, you never know what curveballs life is going to throw at you. And I've got a very strange story, slightly complicated, so you need to follow this. Back in April the 30th, I suddenly received an email, and the email basically said, "Hi, Roger. I don't know where to start. This message may come as a shock to you, but I think you're my father." Well, it did come as a shock. But it turns out that when I lived in South Africa, before I left to come back up to the UK, I went out with her mother. And I knew absolutely nothing about this. And at the age of a week old, she was put out for adoption with a Jewish family in South Africa. And at the age of 4, they moved to Israel. And then at the age of 18, the family moved to Toronto in Canada. And she got married a year later, and she's got 2 wonderful children. So very, very strange, but it gets stranger. When I went out with the mother, I'll use some demonstration here. When I went out with her mother, she had a little boy called Sean. That's Sean. And he was 7 years old. My son and he used to play together. And I stopped going out with her sometime, obviously, and eventually in 1985, I left. I left South Africa and drove back up through. In '86, I drove up through Africa. At the age of 35, she decided that she was going to look into her adoption papers, and the adoption papers told her mother's name, but it didn't mention anything about the father, other than to say that the father of a baby is a 35-year-old British citizen. He's married, has a son of 4, completed schooling in Britain, now director of a company. And nothing is known about his family. She didn't give them any information whatsoever at the adoption agency. So Sarit decided to look into it, and she started doing some research with Facebook and everything else, eventually found her brother, Sean. And she tried to contact Sean and said, "Hi, I'm your sister." Well, nothing happened. It took quite a few months. He just didn't get back to her. Eventually, his partner got back to her and said, no. Sean has got a sister in Toronto, but her name is Lisa. And Lisa came into the picture. So now you've got Sean, Sarit, and Lisa. So they all got chatting and everything else. She found out about her mother and managed to get in touch with her. Mum didn't want to know anything about her, denied her knowledge, denied her existence, and said, "No, I've never had you as a child. I don't know what you're talking about," which is very sad. So anyway, the three of them decided that, Lisa, by the way, found out that they lived a mile away from one another for 20 years since she'd lived in Toronto. And not only were they half sisters, but they had mutual friends in the Jewish community over there. So they hadn't actually met, but they had mutual friends. So anyway, they decided to have a DNA test done. Well, the DNA test came back and it showed that all three of them had the same mother, but Sarit had a different father. Lisa and Sean had the same father. Lisa is younger than Sarit. So all this was found out through DNA. She tracked me down through my cousin's daughter in England. They worked out that it must be someone on the male side, of the family in the Bulls in the UK. And basically her mum, Becky's mum, she spoke to her and said, "Who do you know who lived in South Africa in the 80s? And she went, "Well, Roger did, because I stayed with him when I went on my honeymoon." So all of a sudden, my name came up. She contacted her mother, and her mother went off the handle and said, "No, how did you find that out?" "No, and she said, "Well, is that my father?" She went, "Well, you obviously found out it is." So anyway, she still doesn't talk to her mother. Obviously, there is no relationship there. But I got this email that said, "I think you're my father." So anyway, I moved my DNA from Ancestry to My Heritage, and within 72 hours, it came back as daughter, which we knew anyway. So be careful if you've got DNA tests out there, because you never know what's going to come out the woodwork. And that's basically it. So now I've got an extra 2 grandchildren and a daughter I didn't even know about, who's 37 years old, and COVID's hit, so we can't go anywhere and meet up, but we do speak. We speak most days. I'm on WhatsApp with her, and we have video chats for sometimes 3 hours a day. So yeah, that's my story.
Thank
you, Granddad.
Thanks, Roger.
Thank you.
Roger Yates, can you? Roger
I'd like to
Yates,
step in here as I'm invited from by Charlie, and say Roger Bull, another Roger with a different spelling. That was the most amazing story, and thank you so much for sharing. I think you captivated the entire Zoom audience we were spellbound, and it's so fascinating. So thank you very much indeed for telling it so beautifully.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Now it's my privilege to introduce our next speaker, who is our #1 guest prime speaker for the day. His name is Martz Witty. I don't know Martz personally, but I met him earlier today when we all came on Zoom long before you Queenslanders. I should try to get a few smiles there. Anyway, Martin, I find, has quite a lot in common with me, because he wanted to be a motor mechanic, and his father wouldn't let him at the time. He couldn't get an apprenticeship. But all through his business life, he's been very keen on cars. So I believe that Marty and I have something in common. We're car fanatics anyway, and we like to think of cars and play with cars and admire interesting cars. However, Martin has trained to be a chartered accountant and qualified, but didn't like the profession. And he spent his business life in running a number of successful businesses and a couple of not non-successful. Again, we have something in common there. But Martin has also been, and still is, a highly recognized international speaker. And even his name makes us smile, because how would you like to have a name called Witty? So without any further ado, I'd like to hear all that Martin has to tell us. So Martz Witty, please turn it on.
Thank you. Thank you, Roger. I can say I've spoken in many countries and have thoroughly enjoyed every moment, but that introduction, Roger, is by far the most recent. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. The topic I have been asked to speak on is being positively successful. 3 simple words: being positively successful. So I want to dissect those 3 words and just share a couple of quick stories on the way through. Success. Successful. What is success to you? I'm going to suggest it's as individual as your fingerprint. That what is successful to Roger is different to Sylvia, is different to Charlie, is different to Sandra, is different to Alan, whoever. Success is going to be different. And that's going to be different in relation to your lifestyle, in relation to your age, in relation to your family circumstances. However, if you can quantify it, you can achieve it. Yes, I've been a chartered accountant. I was a chartered accountant for 38 years. Oh, well, not chartered for 38 years, but done accounting for 38 years. I've since left accounting. More on that later. And I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Believe it or not, I know it's hard to believe an accountant with a personality. However, what is success to you? Is it money? Is it status? Is it fame? Is it family? Is it relationship? That's completely up to you. I want to share a couple of quick thoughts. Thomas Jefferson is quoted as saying, "I find the harder I work, the more luck I seem to have." Bit of power in that. An anonymous one: do one thing every day that scares you. If I have a day that I need to be scared, I just choose to ring Charlie Nichols, and it seems to work a treat.
Works for me.
Well, go you, Sandra. Go you, Sandra. Well, Disney, the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. And I think as swappers, and I was a bit of I'm one of the relatively newbies to swap. I was introduced in 1988. The first day at my then job at Bishop Toomey and Pfeiffer, Mark Pfeiffer, my later to be business partner, introduced me to swap, and I came along and I was mesmerized. And over all the years I've been involved, it's all about doing. Stop the thinking, get into the doing. But Winston Churchill had a quote: "Success is walking from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm." And that resonates a little bit closely to me, because I'm just going to share with you 3 little things that have happened in my career path. In 1991, so think back to 1991, I bought into a business. It was a bar. It was an unusual bar. Today, it would be absolutely fine. But in 1991, it was years ahead of its time. You could go and watch a movie and be fed alcohol and food while you sit in a lazy chair watching a movie. I lost $32,000 every 24 hours the doors were open on that business. That's 1991. So I was a relatively, I don't know how old I was there, probably mid-20s, I suppose. In 2006, I lost $2.5 million in 24 hours. In 2018, let's get a bit close now, 2018, I lost $10 million in a business venture. So where's the success? How can I share those stories? I mean, there's some pretty big numbers, and I have to give credit. And sorry, Charlie, I'm going to blow a little bit of wind up your skirt. But frankly, you're a big part of the reason I got through 2018 when I had that enormous fall. Your motivation, your encouragement, your words of wisdom, and your humor got me through it. Certainly a big part of how I got through it. But where's the success in having these failures? Is it in making the money in the first place? Maybe. I mean, it's only money. Easy to say. Was it in losing it? I don't really think anyone could say it's a success in making big losses. I'm going to suggest it was largely in the recovery, recovering from those Winston Churchill, walking from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. I'm going to suggest it was in the recovery time that I had success, but most importantly, for me, it was in the learning. It was in the learning of what I did, not as quite as right as I could have. I'm not going to say I was wrong. For example, in the latest one back in 2018, I put too much trust in too few people, but I don't want to be an untrusting person. I just needed to learn, don't put as much trust in individual people. Now, there's a fundamental rule in business, because today I'm a business strategist and I help clients achieve their goals through quality service with enthusiasm, utilizing a collaborative team environment. So, geez, that rolled off the tongue a bit like a swapper. Anyway, if you can measure it, you can manage it. In terms of fundamental business, if you can measure it, you can manage it. If you can quantify it, you can achieve it. So for you, here's a rhetorical question for now. For you, what would have to happen to make you feel you have been successful in whatever quadrant of your life, whether it's self and health, whether it's home and family, whether it's business and career, whether it's community and humanity, whatever quadrant, have you sat down recently and written 6 goals in each of those quadrants? Because I throw you the challenge to do it, because nothing breeds success like feeling successful. When I do business strategy for a client, imagine, if you will, a pyramid. Just imagine a wee pyramid for a moment. And at the top of that pyramid, at the very top, are your personal goals. Personal, nothing to do with business. Your personal goals. What do you want across those 4 quadrants? Immediately under that, we then determine, we write, we put onto paper or put into the cloud your business goals. Immediately under that, we do, what strategy are we going to have? You see, we start with the end in mind. It was a great philosophy of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Fantastic to start with the personal goals, then the business goals, what strategy we're going to put in place. Under that is what culture are we going to have in the business? What's the culture going to be? And then under that come all the 7 or 8 different bits and bobs about sales, marketing, clients, customers, whatever, prospects, sales funnels, products, whatever, leadership styles. They all come actually last. The business steps come last in the way I help clients get where they want to go. So to recap on being successful, success is personal. It's personal. It's as individual as your fingerprint. And God bless, but you are the judge of whether you're successful or not. You are the judge, not your neighbor, not your business partner, not your daughter, not your son. You are the judge. So being positively successful, let's talk about positivity for a minute. Just today, we heard Charlie recite the SWAT Creed, and we heard about 2/3 of the way through. I realize the importance of the right attitude, and I make this pledge as I am aware in the truth in the law stating, as a person thinketh in their heart, so are they, or words to that effect. How wonderful that, you know, since 1955, two salespeople and a priest started SWAP. And right back then, they realized the importance of the right attitude. So who are we to question that in 2021? I did a Dale Carnegie course. I've done many Dale Carnegie courses, but I love the one that goes, being positive doesn't mean everything will turn out okay. Rather, it's knowing you will be okay, no matter how things turn out. And Carnegie teaches 80% of what we worry about will never happen. Worry is a complete wasted resource. And don't get me wrong, I've done my fair share of worry. Goodness me, certainly have. And interestingly, 80% of what we worry about never happens. Great, great advice in that regards. Now, I've got an older sister. Her name's Mary. We affectionately call her Sister Mary Merlot because she's partial to a red wine. However, she's my oldest, well, my only sister, but my oldest sister. And as a young boy, I would have been in primary school. I noticed one day, I woke up and I noticed, Mary, you're never angry. You're never grumpy. How could this be? So I asked her, took her aside and I said, Mary, how come you're never grumpy? And she said, well, Martz, she said, I don't get out of bed in the morning until I choose to be happy. I thought, wow, that was powerful. So I thought I'd apply this principle. So the next morning, I didn't get out of bed because I just hadn't chosen to be happy. My parents weren't very happy. However, her philosophy was solid. Her philosophy was sound. She didn't get out of bed until she had chosen to be happy. The power of the word choice. Now you see, our thoughts become our words, they become our actions, and they become our being. Our thoughts become our words, become our actions, become our being. And around positive words, I mean, we are blessed to have the experience of Alan Pease. You talk about body language, when you talk about a lot of things, but body language, you know, our actions can reflect on what's going on the inside. But if I come back a step and go just back to our words, I was a solo dad for 10 years. The boys, I have two sons. They came and lived with me for 10 years. Their mother and I had an agreement that she was having a bit of a nervous breakdown. And I said, look, half time, change ends, let me have a go. So they came and lived with me. I was running 6 companies at the time. And suddenly I've got a 9 and a 7-year-old, or it might have been 8 and 6, around that age. And it's around about that time I met Jocelyn, who's online now too. She became my then PA, now EA. She made sure I turned up at the right place at the right time, appropriately dressed. So if you don't like my jacket, blame her. Anyway, I learned the importance of having positive language, not to have negative language. And these boys, I read all the books. I read Fathers Who Dare Win. I read... what was it, 501 Ways to Be a Better Father, and absolutely marvelous books. But learning is nothing unless you implement. And so we started to forbid certain words in the house. And I followed this through to my business career, and Jocelyn will stand testament to that. A word we still forbid in our home and in my workplace is the word can't. I will not accept the word can't. I can't achieve that. I can't. Rubbish, absolute rubbish. I mean, Kiwi can-do attitude. So we forbid the word can't. And I remember Brendan, my oldest boy, who's now 33. I remember, Dad, I can't do the dishes. I have to do my homework. Well, first of all, I thought, rubbish, you don't do your homework anyway. And so he had to do the dishes. He learned very quickly the word won't, and it's a bit more difficult to argue against the word won't than the word can't, because Dad, I won't do the dishes. Oh, okay, well, that's a bit more difficult. But at our place, we go home for a strong end, not a weekend. I know that's a little bit naff, little bit.
Not a weekend.
We go home for a strong end, not a weekend. And people look at you quite sideways. And my younger son, Michael, he's a captain in the army. When he was doing New Zealand Army, when he was doing his boot camp, he rang me. They were allowed to have family time. He rang me and he said, oh, Dad, he says, I'm out of boot camp at Waiuru, which is in the North Island for our Aussie colleagues. He was at Waiuru in the snow, up to his waist in snow. And he was telling me how they'd been out on a tramp, they'd been out on a march. And he said, I woke up at 5 o'clock this morning when my opportunity clock went off, blah, blah, blah. And he carried on the conversation. I thought, he's remembered the language. You see, you wake up to an opportunity. You don't wake up to an alarm. You wake up to an opportunity. And he used the word opportunity clock unprovoked many years later. And I said to him, Mike, you just used the word opportunity clock. What do your mates think of you on camp? Do they look at you sideways? And he goes, yeah, they think I'm a bit weird, but hey, apples don't fall far from trees, hey, Dad? And so that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. At our place, you catch a warm, not a cold. I know it's only a word, but you get the endorphins running in the brain. You can manipulate. You can absolutely manipulate. And I think one of the most fun experiences I had as the solo dad was when my oldest boy, Brendan, I got a phone call from his intermediate principal. His name was Patton, Mr. Patton. And he goes, Mr. Witty. Now, you see, nobody calls me Mr. Witty unless I'm being investigated by the tax department or the liquidators coming in. So no one calls me Mr. Witty. And he goes, Mr. Witty, I'd want you to check your son's school report when he gets home today. It's in his bag. I said, oh, thank you very much. So Brendan comes home from school. I was always home at 3:15. Jocelyn always made sure I was home. In fact, the first day she started, I said, look, I have to leave work at 3. The kids were picked up by private taxi and brought home. She came into my office at 5 to 3 saying, time to go home. And I was like, yep, I'm just going to finish this. Well, long story short, she just turned my computer off and told me to have sex and travel. That's a 4-letter word followed by a 3-letter word, goodbye, with the 2 words she gave me, goodbye. And so I lost all my work, and I learned after that to never question her again. However, I got home and Brendan walks in and I said, Bren, I'd like to have a look at your school report, please. He goes, what school report? I said, the one Mr. Patton rang me to ask you to have a look at. He goes, So he showed it to me. Now, this school report was abysmal. It was a disaster. It was horrific. And I looked at it and I thought, okay, Witty, you've got to think of every ounce. You've got to keep this positive. You've got to keep this positive. You've got to keep this positive. So I looked at it and I said, Brendan, I said, this is the most amazing school report ever. And he looked at me as if, okay, Dad's finally lost it, which I sort of had. Anyway, finally lost it. I said, Brendan, this report is showing the most room for improvement possible. I can't wait to see your next report because it's going to be better than this one. And thank God, because he did improve and things went right. I could have berated him. I could have got offside with him. But the power of positivity, just in our language and our words and our actions, they became who I wanted to be. And that comes to being. Our 3 words, being positively successful. Our thoughts become our words, become our actions. But you see, our thoughts are fed by our beliefs. Now, I went off, and I can't remember what year, but I went off to Orlando, Florida. I did a 13-week course on how to manage our beliefs. I needed it. I really needed it. And it was a huge course, done it twice because I'm a slow learner, but where our thoughts are fed by our beliefs. And I learned in that course, we have 2 types of beliefs. They are either deliberate or they're indoctrinated. So either we choose that belief. I believe the earth is round. is that a deliberate or is that an indoctrinated belief? I mean, it could be different to some of us in the room. So I won't dwell on it in any great length, but our beliefs are either deliberate or indoctrinated. And then we've got to work out what power that belief has. And we talk about that in terms of conviction. What is the power of the belief? Remember back, what we can measure, we can manage. So I believe let's just say, I believe all people are good. What conviction do I have as to that? Is it a 10? Is it like absolutely categorically, no questions asked, that is true? Or is it a 1 being, might be, but I'm not really very sure? Is it a 5? Maybe 50% yes, 50% no, it's as likely as not. Is it 75% conviction? Is it more likely than not? Is it 25% conviction? Less likely than not. So, but what we can measure, we can manage. Beliefs are also either helpful or they're impeding. And so to be able to measure this and know this becomes useful to us about what we're trying to achieve. Are they helpful or impeding? Now, when I did the course, one of the beliefs we had to talk about was money. Now, bearing in mind, I'm a former chartered accountant. I had a belief that came out in that workshop that money is evil. And I thought, wow, where'd that come from? It's not very helpful. That's not a helpful, that's definitely an impeding belief if you're trying to help clients make money and you, at your core, believe money is evil. And we worked out, as we went through the process in the course, that it was because of my father. Now, my father was an Anglican, and I stress he was Anglican. My father was an Anglican priest, and he was a fire and brimstone priest. I stress he's Anglican because it means he was allowed to be married, so I'm not legally a bastard, just don't believe my ex-wife. The thing is, I remembered him sitting or standing at the pulpit, and he was fire and brimstone, bashing the pulpit, saying, money is evil, money is evil. And it was an indoctrinated belief. Now, I got it completely wrong. He never, ever actually said that. And it took me as an adult to realize it was the love of money that was evil, not money itself. So there was a wee bit of homework to be done for that. Being positively successful. I'm going to recap and conclude. You need to be the change you want to see in the world. Don't wish for it. Don't hope for it. Don't pray for it. Well, no, do pray for it, but be the change you want to see in the world. Choice. Choose to be positive instead of negative. And write your own definition of success. Being positively successful. Thank you for paying attention, swappers.
Great.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Witty.
Thank you.
That is, and congratulations for being our first speaker on our very first SWAP online meeting. I was writing down so many gems of wisdom. I've got a page full here, and I don't know where to start. I'm sure whatever stage of your life that you're in at the moment, something that you said this morning really benefited everybody. Success is walking from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. I think that's quite amazing myself. So anyway, from all of us at SWAP, we like to say thank you very much for being here. And I would like to present you with a special gift of a half-drunk bottle of Jameson.
Oh. Nikki, I don't drink anymore.
I'll have it.
But thankfully I don't drink any less. So thank you.
But thank you again. That was amazing. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Well, thanks everybody for turning up today for our, as Nikki said, our first ever virtual meeting. Our next one will be the first Tuesday of the month, which is November the 2nd. If you want to put it in your planner, November the 2nd. Details to be announced. So thanks for our thoughts, Judge Alan Peace. Thanks for the committee for putting all this together. And once again, thank you for everybody coming. I think we might just finish with I'm alive, I'm well, and I feel great one more time because I have missed it. So are we ready, everybody?
Hang on, Charlie. Charlie, before you go on with that, can I just draw your attention to the chat box? If you haven't got it open, click the bubble at the bottom of your screen. And I have entered the dates for February. And I have also entered the link if you're not a subscriber to our email list.
All right. Excellent. Thank you. All right. So if you can do that, we'd really appreciate it.
It's
so let's
done.
do I'm
Just
alive,
check the
I'm
list.
well. I'm alive, I'm well, and I feel great. And then we can go about our business. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3. I'm alive.
I'm well.
I feel great. I feel great. Yes, I'm special.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Charlie.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye. Woohoo.
Oh,
I don't
felt
even
like
know how to
old
get up.
times.
Thanks all for organising it,
Thanks,
Rhonda.
Rhonda.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Thanks,
Have a good week,
Rhonda.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Charlie.
Thank you. See you in
Bye.
in November.
Bye.